business?
No, I don't have anything. Well, I do, but I'm not sure if it's in regards to the letter received from the Board of Health and the conservation issue, and I don't know if that's going to be discussed tonight or.
I don't think it's going to be discussed.
No, I just received it.
We just received it in the packet, but I mean, yeah, I haven't even read it all.
Right, well, I haven't either, but I mean, we did, the last meeting that was brought up, I brought it up,
Right.
requested an investigation into the subject, so I don't know if we're ready to delve into that tonight, or...
If you have Mr. Younger.
Yeah, since we received that letter literally this morning, I want to discuss that with the Board of Health more in depth of what they were, the issues that they brought in there regarding the letter. So I think we can formally report on it the next meeting.
Okay.
Because it was all
So on the
time
30th.
sensitive, we just got it this morning.
All right, so on the 30th, we can, if you want to bring it up on a town administrator's report, or...
And along those lines too, we had asked, I guess yourself, Tom, to get a response from conservation in regard to the statements that have been made. Have you got any correspondence from that
Yes,
board? From that commission?
in the statement, in my conversation with Mr. Weiss, his statement was that he possibly used the wrong terminology.
But I don't think we should just have a statement. We should have some documentation from that commission to the board, rather than just somebody on a statement.
No, I am looking into it. I have met with them, Mary Trudeau, Martin. You know, I looked into the issues of going through each individual application. They have informed me that the time consumption would be incredible to go through everything for the past 3 years.
From who?
Martin and the Board of Health.
Yeah, but I don't think we're looking for anything from the Board of Health. We're looking for something from the Conservation Commission as to why they made the statements. That's what I'm interested in. What are they referring to when they said there was irregularities? That's what I want. I want some kind of documentation from the board as to why they referred.
Yeah, and again, even with the poor choice of words, what would the other word have been, and what are they referencing specifically in relation to it, other than a general impression? And if there's nothing other than a general statement, because they, you know.
I mean, there was nothing that I could get from Mr. Weiss that listed specifically, this particular project.
Okay. Right. Would you just ask him specifically?
I asked him specifically. I could not get anyone saying that Project A or,
But we want a written response.
I know, but I'm stating to you is that he could not give me
Then if he can't give you something, he should write that. Whatever he's got, he should write something and send us something. Don't you think so? Yeah, definitely have a documented informational.
Mr. Rowe?
I think my thing is, that, and I specifically asked, I wanted something in writing because I believe, and it was more than once that the statement was made that there was improprieties. That was the term that was used, and it was more than once. And I really think, and I've gone through the letter from the Board of Health, and part of it that I read, I agree 100%. I think if in fact they don't, that's my thing. I want to know specifics from the Conservation Commission as to what the improprieties are that they were referring to. And if they don't have any, then, well, then we'll go from there at the next meeting.
I don't necessarily disagree with you, Mr. Rowe.
That's my concern now.
Okay. Any other old new business? And again, we'll address it on the 30th. Hopefully we'll be able to address it all on the 30th.
Hopefully.
Okay. All set? Yeah.
Yep.
Mr. Smith?
Yeah, ever since that last heavy rainstorm, if you drive around town, you see, it wasn't only since the heavy rainstorm. It's been ongoing for quite a few years where there's erosion along the Ipswich River and some of the streams. And there's a tremendous amount of trees uprooted and laying in the river. And the ending result is we're having a lot of log jams all up and down the river. And in fact, I noticed one coming up Washington Street and back of Jack Sweetland's old house, you know what I mean? And right in that one particular place, it looks like 2 or 3 trees laying in the water. But then plugged up against the trees are barrels. There's a dead animal of some sort, I don't know what it is, and a bunch, it looks like pallets and boxes. It's just a mess. And if you go over to the Park Street Bridge near Winter Street, same thing. All the trees are uprooted and erosion is And I guess what I'm driving at is, then you get the beaver dam down at the second bridge. And between all these little dams, there is no wonder why the water can't get out of the ground and the water table drops, so some of these people can have some drier cellars and clear up some of the problems with some of the septic systems that are overflowing into the wetland areas. And there again, it may be a letter to either the Conservation Commission to see if they'll let somebody go in there and do it, but they won't let anybody go in there and take these trees out of the river. And the ending result is we're creating problems more than we're solving them, in my opinion. And I just think something should be done. We had, if you remember, 3, 4, 5 years back, there was a fellow that came into our meeting and he wanted to try to get a grant from, I believe it was the federal government, to clear all the dead wood and dead trees and everything else out of the river so there'll be an access flow for canoeing and stuff such as that. And I just think maybe that we should try to revitalize that recommendation from that fellow. I don't have no idea where he is. I think his name was Rowe, as a matter of fact. Yeah, it was Brian Rowe. He lived on Eames Street at the time. And I believe he lives in Andover now, up in the back of the ground round. But I just think maybe, Tom, a memo that, if the board agrees with me, that there's a concern with the vast amount of uprooted trees laying in the river. So maybe that'll help get the water out of here.
No matter where you look in the river, there are barriers that have come down. Again, the natural barriers that have occurred, but the flow is definitely being impeded.
Yeah.
And
I think what's happening,
because of the storms we've had recently, I mean, it's just...
Rivers everywhere.
The rivers everywhere, that's right.
And when that storm came, it went in everybody's backyard, picked up all their rubbish and put it in the river. So the result is there's dams everywhere. So if maybe we can do something along those lines.
Yep, sure.
And,
That was,
I don't know, Army Corps of Engineers, I think
We've
asked this
exhausted,
before,
yeah.
and
yeah, I think we tried that.
but I mean, maybe now with more damage and more damage to property, you know, they'll take another look at it. Maybe the state or someone will,
But I
if they
think
don't
that's
ask, I mean, worst thing they can say is no.
Right.
You know, so I think we should ask it and try and push it, and maybe get the other cities and towns up and down the river to...
And there may be even money out of this disaster relief fund, maybe through state funding or federal grants, because I know it was Middlesex, Essex, and one of the county, Norfolk, I guess it was, county that was declared a disaster area. Maybe we could get some of the rivers cleaned up through National Guard or something. They might have wood chips or whatever.
And if the federal funds are starting to flow to some of these homeowners as a result of this, you know, they can see the benefit of clearing the river and allowing it to flow more freely. And you get rid of the beavers that you don't like and the dams and stuff like that at the same time.
Well, they got rights, but we were here first, I think.
Yeah, we're here before us.
But the other one I had was, I think we're having a meeting on the 30th, and I would think on the 30th, this board should take its position on the ballot questions. I think we definitely should do that. I think we should notify the general public as to where we stand on the various ballots, the ballot questions that are going to be asked to be voted on at the May 8th election. So I think we should do that on the 30th.
Yeah, that's an intended agenda item.
Yeah, that's all I have.
Okay.
And we've already discussed 30, what is it, 30 Haverhill Street, or 32 Haverhill Street, whatever it was. That's all I had.
What was that?
Oh, the sale of the house, I just wondered where you were at. The sale of
Oh,
Haverhill Street.
yeah, we'll give us a status update.
Right.
See what it is. Dana, you thought of something else?
Yeah, I did have one question, and I heard some different things around about, and I saw in the paper about the school. I don't know if they're gonna be able to get through this year with the budget they currently have and maintain the level of services and so on and so forth, but I'd like to find out if all our other departments exactly where they stand financially at this time as far as getting through the year with the extra snow and ice and so on and so forth, you know, exactly where the departments are.
For the current fiscal year,
Right,
the one we're in right now,
right. How are we gonna end up, you know?
I think,
Well, with the current fiscal year, you know, with the exception of the snow and ice, everything looks, you know, rather sedate. No, everything's fine. There's, you know, two issues, and I've brought it to the attention of the Public Works Director, which are minor in nature, but is something to watch right now is our utility costs. Our electrical costs and our gas and our fuel costs for the municipal buildings, particularly the past 2 months, have been higher than I originally was projecting over the entire year, obviously with the cost increase.
And I think a lot of that has to do, Tom, now that they've imposed a delivery fee that we talked about earlier, with a pipe coming under the ground, and you know, you don't see no trucks pulling up and paying people to deliver this fuel to these buildings. But now they charge us a delivery charge on the gas consumption. And I don't know if you've seen the bills, but I don't even have gas, but I've seen bills from people that have been complaining about their gas bills. And they're soaring, and it seems like as much as 50% of the gas bill is a delivery charge that comes through a pipe. And I just don't know where it's all going to end. But I've seen some people's bill in like December be at $112, and in January with basically the same temperatures, basically every single thing the same, and their bill double. And it's very upsetting for them. I mean, they went up 47%. I guess it was that new gas company that took over Boston Gas. Keyspan. Pardon me? Keyspan, right? And they've increased the rates by 47%. That's a tremendous increase in heating costs. So.
That's why a year ago, 2 years ago, putting in the gas burners for free.
For free. Yeah, we'll put your gas burner for free and then we'll get you.
Mr. Bagan.
Yes, I'd just like to remind people that the Berry reuse meetings are coming up, one on April 26th, one on May 3rd, and one on May 10th. And on the April 26th and May 3rd, we'll be interviewing 2 contractors, 2 developers at each meeting. And there will be, the public is invited, but participation for the public is not until May 10th on the second session. So if anybody wants to come to those meetings, they're more than welcome.
Just as far as narrowing down the list to how many?
The list is, well, we've got 5 developers now, and the reuse committee will be giving their recommendations to the state. The state will be participating in these interviews. But as far as the Berry Reuse Committee goes, the Berry Reuse gives their recommendation for the project that they'd like to see, and they give that to the state, and it's the state's ultimate decision. So the Berry Reuse Committee pretty much will give its decision shortly after the 10th, and it's then in the hands of the state. Also, I noticed I went by the police station today, and the police station project is moving along. Someone was down there marking off some corners and things, and hopefully dig safe or whatever. But that looks like it's moving along.
Tom, like respond.
Yes, Lee Associates, who was awarded the project design services, will be doing the test borings and siting work there, I think Friday. So the first thing I wanted to see is literally, can you put it on the site before any other work was completed? And
Just along on the Berry reuse, I think everybody should realize, and I think they all do, and I think the people in the community are starting to realize it too, this is probably the most important issue that's probably come before this town in about 50 years, because it's going to be the biggest taxable piece of property that we're going to have in the town. And from what I can gather, it looks like somewhere between 1.9 and 2.5 million in tax revenue is going to be coming to the town, if in fact, I'm not sure on those numbers, but that's what it looks like when you break it all down. And that's a tremendous amount of tax revenue that'll certainly help the taxpayer and give some relief to the people in the community that are struggling a little bit. So I just think it's a great thing. And yeah, I guess it's all in their hands as to who they make a recommendation to the state with, and I just hope that it all goes well for you guys. So.
Well, and keep in mind, that amount of taxation won't be in the coffers probably for another 3 or 4 years.
And I understand that. But the other good thing is I think the board was very selective in the people they put on that board, and I think they've done an outstanding job on that Berry reuse committee.
I think they did a great job choosing the people. Thank you.
No, I think they have.
Jim?
Also, there was an article in the paper last week regarding the LD Bachelor plans, and I was at a meeting last week